So this is my look for today. This is my version of keeping it simple. Yeah, I'm not even gonna curl my hair. I don't think I'm gonna, I guess I'll put on some earrings and of course my wedding ring and maybe another ring or something. The video you're about to see is not what I intended to record. I started off recording an intro to a video about our trip to Cabo and instead ended up going in a completely different direction. So these are the thinkings, the ponderings, the reflections of a 47-year-old woman struggling to reconcile some of the habits and teachings of the past and think about how to live optimally in her future years. And that person is me. So you'll hear a little bit of, or a lot of bit of meandering around, and it's mostly related to health and weight. If that's something you think you would be interested in, I welcome you to keep watching. And if you're tired of those kinds of videos, I totally get it. And I'll see you in the next video. So hope you enjoy and would love to hear your thoughts and comments in the comments. Thanks so much. So it is the week of, oh my gosh, this is too light already. Here's the morning. Here's how we're starting off with foundation that's, oh, maybe it's not. I think that could work out. So it is the week of a trip to Cabo San Lucas that I have planned for my husband's 50th birthday. First of all, can we talk about turning 50? I have 2.5 years, God willing, before I turn 50. My husband is this year. And gosh, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that we've had the opportunity to age. I mean, if you look through the history of mankind, it wasn't until very modern times that people lived past 30 and 40 years old, for the most part, on average, and all of that, right? So the fact that we are aging and can possibly make it into what we think of as old age, 80 to 100 years old range, is just something else. Like from a human biology and evolution perspective is quite fascinating. And all of the like societal things that come with that. I don't want to get too into that because that can get really heady and maybe even a little scary and depressing. I'm talking about the strains on our healthcare systems, the strains on our food systems as a society, the strains on everything, all of the garbage that we produce as 8 billion humans reproduce and age and consume. So I'm definitely into consumerism. I create a lot of waste as a human. I'm very well aware of that. Conversation for another day. But anyway, back to Cabo. So 50 years old, like it's not lost on me how amazing that is. So we had really thought about going to Scotland and Ireland. That was the plan. My husband is really into old castles, and I thought that would just be a great trip. However, one, the tickets, because we're spoiled and we want to fly first class. Don't judge. It's a luxury that we feel like we have earned, and he gets mileage and points from work and all of that. The tickets, even with miles and all of that, would have been a little bit prohibitive. One, and two, all of the COVID restrictions and everything. We just didn't want to fuss with all that nonsense. Like traveling in and of itself is such a pain. You enjoy it while you're there, but the getting there part and the getting back part can be incredibly stressful. So I just wanted to make it as simple as possible. We both love Mexico. We typically will vacation in the Mayan Riviera, like on the Yucatan Peninsula, and traveling south, anywhere from like Cancun to Playa del Carmen and all of the little fishing towns in between. We love the quiet fishing towns on the eastern seaboard there. Anyway, we've done that a million times. So I thought, let's try Cabo on the other side, on the Pacific side, and just have a good time, just relax, have a really relaxing vacation. So we leave on Friday, and I did something extraordinary. I actually packed ahead of time, shut the front door. And I want to share with you just a couple of the kinds of items that I packed because it's very different than what I usually do. So typically I fuss greatly with packing, and I usually do it like a day or two before. So it is Tuesday today. So last night, Monday night, I actually packed like a whole almost week ahead of time. It's unbelievable that I did that. But here's what I decided to do. One, part of the reason that packing is so dramatic for me is because I always try to like coordinate all of the outfits that I think I will need while I am on vacation. So you have to have poolside outfits. So you need your bathing suits and your beach cover ups and your sun hats and your sunglasses and all of that. Then you have your daytime outfits. So you need a variety of like shorts and sleeveless shirts and short sleeve shirts and tank tops and camis with bra shelves, and it just goes on and on. You need sneakers. Oh my gosh, I forgot to put tennis shoes, sneakers into my bag. So I got to do that. You need flip flops. You need sundresses. And what if you want to go out to dinner? You need something a little bit dressier. I mean, the list just goes on, and it can get really dramatic packing, not to mention the worst part, which for me is all of the products, the body products. If you want lotions, fragrances, hair products, you need a razor. You definitely want to be able to shave all of, your legs and up to the bikini line and everything. I mean, it just goes on. And then the makeup. So I have drama on top of drama when I pack, usually with makeup, because I do like to put makeup on while I'm on vacation. And I like to do a full face. And I mean, so next thing you know, I've got this huge makeup bag, a bag dedicated just to brushes, another bag dedicated to serums and makeup remover. And it's just kind of stressful. And that's just for me. Like, it's just my husband and I going this time. But when we take our kids, and even though they're old enough to pack for themselves, of course, I'm checking behind. Did you remember this? I'm like a parrot. Do you have this? Did you get your toothbrush? Do you have your toothpaste? Did you pack deodorant? I mean, it just, it goes on and on and on. So the packing part creates tremendous drama that makes me regret that I ever scheduled a vacation to begin with. And what was I thinking? And why don't I just do a staycation at home? I swear, the one thing we're missing here, when we moved into this neighborhood, we don't have a pool. I really love our neighborhood. It's kind of off the beaten path and a little bit secluded. So in that sense, it always feels like I'm driving into camp when when we come into our neighborhood, because it's quiet and it's wooded, and I really like that. But the one thing I really regret is that there's no pool in this neighborhood, and our backyard doesn't have one. And we cannot, well, we could put one in, but we'd have to take out so many trees, and then our backyard slopes down to like this creek area. So it would just be really dramatic from like a permit perspective to try to put in a pool. I only bring that up to say that if we had a pool in our backyard, I probably would never leave this property. Like, I'd have Amazon or other services deliver us food, and I'd just be back there. By the way, I'm not naked, in case you're wondering. I do have one of those wraparound snap towels that I got on Amazon. Love this thing. So I'm all over the place today. Yeah, I'd love to have a pool in my backyard. That's kind of because it gets hot enough here to feel like I'm in the tropics. And if you close your eyes while you're on a floaty in your pool in the backyard, what difference does it make if you're not actually in the tropics? And we're a couple of hours away from a beach. So, I mean, we've got everything. We've got mountains, beach, all of that here in Virginia. We've got, heck, you want a canoe on a swamp? We got a swamp for you. Come on down. So anyway, and we can make margaritas. Like, I don't need to go to Mexico for tequila and margaritas. I don't even drink tequila. Do you drink tequila? Tequila definitely makes my clothes fall off. Just kidding. No, it doesn't. But it makes me weird. I don't like tequila. It gives me heartburn. And I feel like I act the weirdest when I drink tequila. So it's like that liquor that I'm not a liquor girl. I'm not. I'll have a mixed drink from time to time. I mean, who can turn down a pina colada? Hello. But I usually drink wine. I used to drink beer. Like, in my younger days, I drank beer, especially like Miller Lite. Are you a beer snob? Do you drink only, what do they call specialty beers? There's a name for them. Like niche perfume. There's like a niche market for beers. And there's a name, artisanal beers. I don't even remember. Anywho, I can't mess with beer anymore. It makes me feel bloated. But I will have a glass of wine. And even with wine, I'm getting to the point where I mostly just stick to white. Something about red wine. I forget what the chemical compound is called, and is it tannins in red wine? Whatever it is, I stick to white wine. And I can only have these days a glass. If I have two, it's a wild evening. If I have three, I just don't feel good. And I'm talking about three spread over a long evening. How did I get into all of that? So packing. So this time I decided, no, sis. You're going to pack simply this time. You're not going to drive yourself crazy with this insane packing routine. Get ahead of it. I'm so glad that I did that. And keep it simple, stupid. The KISS method, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, sweetie, if you like to talk to yourself kindly. I like to be a little mean to myself to get my butt in gear sometimes. So for me, it's keep it simple, stupid. I don't think I'm stupid, but I do like the expression. A lot, our math teacher in 7th grade used to use that for algebraic equations. Keep it simple, stupid. Mr. Chasen was his name. I wonder where Mr. Chasen is now, if he's still alive or not. He was something else. Mr. Chasen. We used to walk up 160, is it 7th Street? 61st Street, 167th Street in the Bronx. And sometimes we would walk behind him as he went up to the train station to go home from our middle school where he taught us. And he would always stop at the produce store and get grapefruits and bananas. He used to be a really big man. I want to talk about that too, food and diet and weight loss and all that stuff. But anyway, he used to be a really big man. And then he lost all this weight by eating more naturally and especially relying on like a heavily fruit and vegetable diet. So he was big into grapefruits. And as middle schoolers, we just thought grapefruit was like the nastiest, most sour, disgusting thing. Like, ew, why would anyone want to eat grapefruit? So we would make fun of Mr. Chasen and he would say, you guys wait, you'll be eating grapefruit when you get older. And we were like, no, we won't. We'll never eat grapefruit. I still don't eat grapefruit. Do you eat grapefruit? Occasionally, a half a grapefruit with a little, I have to have the sugar on top. I can't do the sourness. I just can't. But packing, isn't that what I was talking about? Packing. So I kept it simple. I decided, hang on, sit down, clutch your pearls. I'm not taking any makeup with me. I said what I said. I'm not even taking bronzer and face powder, which would be like the minimum, right? With a little mascara. Online, I am taking mascara, two things. I'm taking mascara and I'm taking lip balm and lip gloss. That's it. That's it. Of course, I'm taking sunblock. I mean, I'm not crazy. I'm definitely trying to protect this old skin on my face. I went through a period of my life where I didn't protect it at all and spent a lot of time out in the sun, and I'm paying for it now. So if you are younger and happen to be watching this, protect your skin starting at a young age, at least your face, this part, which is very delicate, and your hands. Put sunblock, if nothing else, on those. If you want to be stubborn and only protect certain parts, I say put it all over. But anyway, sunlight is important, and that's a conversation for another day. Sunlight is not the enemy. Too much sunlight can be an enemy. Can we pause just to acknowledge how wonderful this bronzer is? I sometimes forget that I have this, and this is probably one of my best. It's the most like natural, warm, yet not like red, orangey shade. And it looks a little goofy with the lights here, but in regular light, it looks very natural, very fantastical. Bobbi Brown. It's just called the bronzing powder, and it's in the color Natural. And it looks like that, which is kind of cool toned. It does have some warmth on the face though. I really, really like this. I forget about this one, and it needs more attention. So what did I pack? So no makeup, just mascara and lip gloss, basic hair stuff. Like I'm not even taking hair gel. Shut your mouth. I do need hair ties, and I do need a bandana. Like I like to put my hair back, when I'm washing my face, and sometimes just during the day when you're out and about, I want my hair out of my face. Absolutely taking a hat, sunglasses, all that stuff. But in terms of clothing, I use the KISS method too. I'm taking a couple of pairs of shorts, some simple tops that I know fit well and are no fuss. By the way, I'm really kind of liking this Tartelette Full Bloom palette. Tartelette Full Bloom. I didn't think I'd like this. I usually have issues with the Tarte formula, but this is great for just days when you need something simple. It doesn't have to be your most glamorous look. You just want to look put together and presentable. And I'm going to do a simple, like warm look out of here because that's kind of what I'm feeling today. So let's go. Let's do this. Couple shirts, couple shorts, and I'm mostly taking sundresses. Sundresses that I've gotten off of Amazon that are either spaghetti strap. I'm taking one that has very short sleeves, but these are like, I call them my potato sack dresses. It doesn't matter how big or small you are, you can wear them and feel comfortable, which is going to be the goal for this vacation, and look semi-decent. So I'll insert maybe a picture or two over here from dresses that I've purchased off of Amazon. These are like anywhere from $20 to about $35 each. Are they the most well-made dresses? No, but who cares? I mean, like, they're for summer. You're going to sweat them out while you're there and all that. I want to be comfortable. So it's going to be a flip-flop and tennis shoes kind of vacation. I'm not taking any formal shoes, no heels, no fancy shoes, no fancy slides or flats or anything. Just flip-flops, flippity-flops, flip-floppies, flip-flops, flip-flops. And I'm going to have a no regrets kind of a vacation, period, end of story. That's it. I also, by the way, because I do like to be comfortable in the resort, at the resort. And we have a nice sort of, well, I hope it's nice. I'll do some footage for you all. I think I reserved a nice suite for us. This is my present to my husband for his 50th, right? So I reserved a nice full 1-bedroom suite with a limited kitchen. And I hope it has an ocean view. That would just be, there's nothing more relaxing to me. Nothing more relaxing than listening to waves while I go to sleep. That or rain, heavy rain or waves. And I've had that on some vacations where you can just open your patio door or your window or whatever and listen to the waves crash all night. It is like the most peaceful, serene, relaxing thing. It's like meditation at night. What am I doing to my eyeballs here? What am I doing? So that's it. Oh, I meant to say. I do like to be comfortable, like I said, so I packed a pair of pajamas, actually 2 pairs of pajamas, and my slippers. The other thing I need to pack is satin robe. It's not silk, just satin. It's just satin. A satin robe, so that I can wear that at night because I enjoy the comfort factor. And my friends, that's all. So back to the turning 50 part. I mean, I'm looking at my sweet husband, and his hair's turning gray. He's a handsome gray fox, thankfully. And I'm just like watching him age and like, gosh, I'm watching myself age. And like I said, grateful for the privilege of aging. Of course, I would understand that and appreciate that. But also like, yeah, like this is happening. We're actually aging. There's no turning back. Youth is gone. Youth is in the heart and all that. Yeah, I know that. But physically, youth is gone. Like, we will not be revisiting our youthful years. That part of our life is over. And I'm glad that it is over, but I am nervous and anxious about the aging process. I'd love to be one of those people that is graceful about it in acceptance, but there's a part of me that's just resisting because I know that there's an end to that. Like, you're not just going to age forever and go on forever. Aging also signals your mortality. I know I've talked about this in a lot of videos. It's depressing and all that, but it's always on my mind. And of course, like I always say, then thinking about what does that mean for how we live. Anyway, that's not what this video is about, but I did just want to share those thoughts I was having because they can be like all consuming. And it makes me also think about living a healthy life. And what does that mean? Like, how do we do that? Which is hard because there's so much conflicting advice out there about diet. There are people, and diet to me, how you eat, how you sleep, and how you move, to me, are the 3 biggest factors that contribute to a healthy lifestyle. But there's so much debate about all 3 of those things. How much sleep you really need. Do you need 5 hours? Do you need 8 hours? Do you need more? How much movement do you need? Does walking suffice? Or do you need to do heavy lifting? Do you have to have weight-bearing exercise, or both, or none? Is yoga okay? Is meditation alone okay? With diet, there's such a spectrum of beliefs. There are people and a whole huge body of research that supports just a plant-based diet. There's a whole huge body of research that supports a balanced diet with protein and carbs and fat. There's a whole body of research that supports a mostly animal-based diet on the what they call carnivore side that excludes carbs and sugars and all of that. It is all over the place, and if you search on YouTube and watch videos, it will drive you insane because you'll watch, very reputable doctors, researchers pontificate and share research and tell you why certain food groups are good or not good for you, why certain ways of eating are the best or not. And it is just incredibly confusing and boggling. So the only thing I can do is go by what makes me feel physically my best, which is eating less, which I don't do. Eating less. So let me back up. I just put a little gold, or maybe a lot of gold, on the lid, and that's it. Like that's your look. That's my work look today. So life, right? You know, my big question is always, are we doing it right? And what does right mean? And it's a month after the last video where I went on and on about that, and I still don't have any answers. Normally, like in the past when I've gone on vacation, I've thought I'm just gonna go crazy. I'm gonna eat whatever I want. I'm gonna drink whatever I want. I think more and more I just almost want to have the opposite, like a low-key vacation where I don't eat super crazy. Now watch me go and like eat everything under the sun. In other words, don't take it as an opportunity to gorge, because gorging really isn't a healthy habit. It doesn't serve you. In fact, it sets you back. Like what's the point of that other than temporary, very temporary pleasure? It doesn't serve any long-term goals, and it won't make you feel good over the long run. I mean, do you ever come back from vacation and you're like, oh my gosh, I ate the best food? Maybe you do. I don't. I'm always like, gosh, I probably should not have eaten the 3,000 croissants or whatever we had. So it's good in the moment. It's great in the moment, but over the long run, it doesn't serve my long-term health goals. So we'll see. I mean, then there's the balance approach, right? Everything in moderation. Like have some, enjoy some, but don't go super crazy. So maybe that will be the approach. And in my ideal life, I'd like to use vacations for resets, like completely eat super duper healthy and eat as little as possible. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Years and years ago, I read a book that I don't remember the name of, but I'm going to insert it here. And the motto of the book was, after he did all this research on human diet and what we should and should not be eating, and again, there's 1,000 opinions about that. And part of me thinks they're all right. Like none of them are wrong. And it just really depends on the person. Anyway, his motto was eat food, meaning real food, not processed food. In other words, nothing that comes in a box. Like if you're familiar with the Suzanne Somers theory of eating, Suzanne Somers, Chrissy on Three's Company, come and knock on our door, come and knock on our door. Her whole thing was eat around the perimeter of the supermarket and avoid the middle. Avoid everything that's in boxes, cans, and whatever, because there's so much crap in that the human body really doesn't know what to do with and doesn't need. And just stick to dairy, stick to protein and produce, period. Like those 3 food groups. And she's not wrong, you know? But maybe she's not right. That's the whole thing. Maybe it doesn't matter. So the motto of the book was eat food, real food, not too much, mostly plants. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. So that kind of became my motto for a few years. I had a very heavily plant-based diet where I also added protein, because I do believe in the power of protein for muscle building, for bone strength, for general body functions, all sorts of metabolic functions and whatever. I believe in protein, and I believe in the power of healthy fats, unprocessed, unrefined, healthy fats in their natural state. So I went that direction, and that's probably the healthiest that I ever felt. I over-exercised though. I was training for half marathons and such, and I lost a ton of weight. I did. But I don't know that all of that running and conditioning was the best for me in the long run. Look at that powder kicking up. So I'm thinking, and then as you age, you know, we ladies, we have a lot of hormonal stuff going on that's just different than other periods of our lives. So I'm just thinking through all of that and trying to figure out, like, what's the best approach for me? I don't have answers, but I can tell you it's an incredibly frustrating experience as I continue into middle age, and it seems like anything I enjoy that's in the processed food group, a single cookie sets me back like to stone ages. It's like my body's like, nah, you really done did it, and we're gonna let you have it. So it's like if I don't stay completely clean in my diet, I suffer for it physically. I wonder things like, does that mean that I just haven't, like, over the decades of my life, built up the proper metabolic machinery because I have been eating improperly for so long? I don't know. I mean, like I said, there's so many theories out there about why some women in middle age struggle with weight loss versus others. The only thing I can conclude from women that actually manage to keep a reasonable weight, and I mean they're not metabolically like obese or anywhere near that, right? They're very far from that. The only thing I can conclude is they're a lot stricter in what they eat than people think. Like they might eat whatever they want, but they eat very small portions. That's one thing I notice. And generally, they stay away from the nasty stuff. They might have a little bite or two, but it's not like they go through a whole sleeve of Oreo cookies on the regular. You know what I'm saying? And they have a regular movement routine. And typically, it includes weight bearing exercises. Those are the two things that I have observed. And they've done that most of their life, by the way. They didn't just pick it up at 40 years old. It's something that they've done routinely. So their body, all of the mechanisms, machinery, enzymes, all of that stuff, all of the things that contribute to how we look and how our body functions have been working well for them through the decades. So they didn't just try to like turn on the dime at 40 years old, which brings me to another topic, and that is about the lessons that we teach our young ones about how to eat and how to move. So I've been trying to like undo a lot of things in my house, and it's hard. It's really a challenging thing to turn around mentalities. So I'll give you an example. We typically tell kids, eat what you want, your metabolism's high, you're gonna burn it off. That may be so, but if this metabolic machinery theory is true, and you build up habits and you build up systems in your body, including all of the things that happen microscopically that we cannot even see inside of our body that contribute to our metabolic health, if it's true that you build that up over time, what we're teaching kids is to have unhealthy habits that add up to lifelong challenges. Think about that. If we're telling kids that it's okay to consume ice cream every day, to eat meat subs every day, to whatever, like just indulge, you're fine, you'll burn it off. Think about how hard it is to shift that later in life when they're in their 20s and things start at that moment to kind of sort of slow down. And then in their 30s, there are greater effects. And once you get to your 40s and your 50s, there's this cumulative effect of bad habits that lead to incredible health struggles in that time period. I don't think a lot of folks put two and two together. I am trying to put two and two together, but the part that I'm really struggling with is then changing the habits in this house. It's not uncommon to have a cake on the counter on the weekends. Having a slice of cake on occasion is one thing. Having unfettered access to cake on the regular is another thing. And when we're talking about kids who enjoy sweets, their mouth, their palate is used to sweet tastes, we are setting them up for a lifetime of challenges and problems. So I'm really conscious of that and trying to let them live their best lives and enjoy yummy things, but also not trying to instill in them that it is okay to eat whatever you want, however much of it you want, because you'll just figure it out later in life. No, you don't figure it out. These are the kids that grow up to have metabolic problems like me and others, where you're constantly like struggling to stay ahead of the weight gain. So those things start early. That's what I believe. I'm trying to put two and two together, but I'm also trying to figure out then what is the right approach for eating for our children. I definitely prioritize protein. That's my motto. Prioritize protein. Make sure they get enough protein. That is the macronutrient that I think is the most important in terms of internal building blocks for health. Then healthy fats, and then carbs as the last thing, right? That's the least important and what you should eat the least. I don't restrict them. I don't mean that. I just mean prioritizing protein. That's it. Like make sure that they have a healthy piece of protein on their plate before we fill it up with 1,000 other things. And then vegetables, and then maybe some rice or potatoes or whatever. And try to stay away from or eat less of. It's not restricted, right? Because I think restrictions then get into a whole nother mental nonsense. I try to limit or reduce the amount of pasta and just processed stuff like breads and cookies and cakes and pies and protein bars and all of that stuff that comes in boxes and doesn't grow on trees out of the ground or have eyes and legs. And fish don't have legs, but have eyes and a beating heart, right? Oh my gosh. And then there's the exercise piece. Our kids, God bless them, are all of our kids, our entire generation of kids now are more sedentary. So we do our best to get them on walks and moving and have them play on sports teams and all of that. Gosh, there's so much to think about. It's so stressful. I just want our kids to be set up for better long-term habits and health than we were. We grew up with the mentality, eat what you want, clear your plate, don't waste food, there's starving kids, and fill in the blank. All of those stupid habits that do not contribute to long-term healthy personal habits. They contribute to messing up your head and making you think that you need to eat more food than your body really requires or needs. It's amazing that we lead fairly sedentary lifestyles but feel like it's okay to eat 3 full meals a day. You don't need that. Like, your body does not need that amount of energy. Us being an overweight society is a really clear indication that we take in an excess of energy that our body stores. It's kind of that simple, but then it's immensely complicated at the same time. But at the base of it, it's that. We really just take in way, way, way too much energy that we don't burn off, and it sits on our bodies. And that creates this domino effect of so many health problems and complications that we then try to solve with medications instead of reversing the problem that caused it in the first place, which is too much eating and not enough movement. Yes, it's a lot more complicated than that, as I mentioned, but that's kind of the core of it, right? So I'm going to pause this rant because I'm at 35 minutes and I got to get to work. But I will share with you my Cabo trip and some other notes from all of that, our travel experience and everything. I hope you enjoyed this. I really didn't mean for this to turn into like a lecture about eating and food and overindulging, but gosh, it has really been consuming my mind, especially as I approach 50, my husband's turning 50, and I'm turning my mind more to optimizing these years that God has blessed us with. And I think it starts with more movement and less junky food. Something like that. Something like that. Love you all. Thanks so much for hanging out and listening to me rant. Y'all take care.